Hello, hello. My name is Dove. If you don't know me, I'm an artist and a writer, and for a little under 2 years now, I have also been a TikTok creator. I started posting on TikTok around the time that the Hunger Games got put on Netflix in March of 2023, which spawned a whole Hunger Games renaissance similar to the Twilight Renaissance of 2020, if you guys remember that. Most of my content consists of literary analysis and media analysis on a variety of books, shows, movies, etc. And I did begin to dip my toes into long form content here on YouTube this past April, May or so, but life sort of got in the way. But now that TikTok is going away for real, exactly a month from today, I'm filming this on December 19th. It's set to be banned January 19th. With it going away for real, I figured it was time to probably start putting my TikTok eggs back into the YouTube basket. Because the truth is, I've come to really enjoy being a creator, and it's not something that I want to give up just because the US government has gotten pissy over the fact that it can't siphon all of the data that we hand over to TikTok on a daily basis. Data is the new oil, by the way, but that's for a whole different video. So today I want to talk about the volatility of internet platforms, the ever-changing landscape of content creation, and what I think there may be to come for the future of the attention economy. I'm going to be using the phrase attention economy quite a bit throughout this video, so let's go ahead and nail down what it is I mean by that. The term was first coined in the 1960s by economist Herbert A. Simon and refers to the idea that human attention is a limited resource that is increasingly scarce and valuable. As such, this attention becomes the focus of economic industry, where people, businesses, and organizations have to compete for it. It holds material value. This market for capturing and monetizing people's attention is a rapidly growing sector and is estimated to be worth hundreds of billions of dollars a year. So as of yesterday, again, I'm recording this December 19th, the Supreme Court did agree to take on the case with oral arguments starting January 10th. Now, I am no expert in the court of law, nothing even close. But that does seem really interesting to me because as far as I've heard, there has not been a plan to extend the date that the law would go into effect again, which makes me think that they are planning to hear arguments and push the case through, giving a ruling at an unprecedented speed. And I don't know if that makes me feel better or worse given the timing of it. And who knows, maybe by the time I finish editing this video and it's on YouTube, there will have been breaking news, something happened, maybe they've decided to sell. But even if they decide to sell, is that really saving the app? I'm not so sure. We've seen what happens when other apps are acquired by Meta or Elon Musk, and it hasn't been awesome. Does anybody enjoy Instagram Reels, actually? Also, Twitter, X, I refuse to call it that. But that is a cesspool that you couldn't pay me to sit in. And then they have the gall to charge their users to have their blue check mark. Crazy. Absolutely not. I saw this really interesting video by TikTok user at I am Brigitte talking about her own experience working at Tumblr and witnessing its downfall as the company was sold and bought and sold and bought and sold, and how the parent company actually caused the downfall of it because there was a cultural misunderstanding of how the platform worked and what users used it for, and also how they were able to enjoy it.
Tumblr was founded in 2007, and since then it had changed ownership 3 times. It was bought by Yahoo in 2013 for $1.1 billion. And then Verizon bought Yahoo, which meant that Tumblr came underneath it. And then in 2019, Verizon sold Tumblr to Automatic, which is home to WordPress, for $3 million. That ban caused Tumblr to lose 1/3 of its user base. The automated system that was supposed to flag this content kept flagging content incorrectly, which made it really hard for users to enjoy their experience on the platform. I shared this story because this wasn't entirely Tumblr's fault, right? It was also the parent company. See, what I fear with TikTok is that the same thing might happen. A parent company might buy TikTok, might not understand the brand, the community of TikTok, and henceforth might end up making these changes that cause the user to not have a good experience on the platform. You have to remember, Tumblr was this incredible space that pioneered microblogging and creating content and really sharing diverse communities. When Yahoo bought it in 2013, the parent company said, okay, you do what you gotta do. Once Verizon bought Yahoo and of course Tumblr came on, I don't think the media conglomerate understood why and how this platform was so unique to users, and therefore implemented and changes came on about. Without TikTok's current algorithm and current community, if and when it's bought by a US company, I'm really interested to see how this platform will continue to thrive, and will it even thrive?
This is, of course, not the first time that this has happened. We have seen the rise and fall of many a social media site. Some of them, it's simply been a fall from grace. As far as I'm concerned, Facebook is pretty much still functional as long as you ignore all of the notifications that aren't even real notifications. But I would say that the average user is pretty much only using it occasionally to check up on distant relatives or see what's going on with that person you went to high school with, both groups of whom are usually associated with at least one conspiracy theory and an MLM. So do with that what you will. But for others, this has been a true extinction. R.I.P. Divine and Flappy Bird, gone but not forgotten. I do kind of wonder how long it's going to take for all of my favorite TikTok compilations to start showing up on YouTube. I know to an extent it's already happening because at least a few of my friends have already been posting compilations of their own TikToks. But is one of mine going to end up in a random collection somewhere 5-10 years down the line? I will be interested to see.
I don't care about my haters, and if you want to fight me, then fight me.
But then there's also apps like Yik Yak, which disappeared for a few years and then was revived again. If you don't know what Yik Yak is, it was an entirely anonymous, location-based forum meant primarily for college students on campus. I had it my junior and senior year of high school just to kind of lurk on the nearby college campus because we were really close to one. But it was shut down in spring of 2017 after ongoing criticism for the lack of moderation, protections against bullying, racism, homophobia, sexism, you know, all the works. I do feel like a lot of that stuff could have been solved by some simple comment filters, but what do I know? I'm not an app developer. But then it was updated and overhauled and relaunched in fall of 2021. Do you want to guess when I was in college? It was September of 2017 to March of 2021. I was perfectly within the window to have completely missed Yik Yak my entire college experience. It was there before, it came back right after. Very disappointing, incredibly rude.
Why?
But TikTok does seem to be going away for real this time. There has been a lot of empty threats of it over the past 4 years as this case has just been escalated, and at this point it feels like it really is coming to a head. And myself, like a lot of my friends and fellow TikTok creators, have had to really sit down and ponder what the next steps are for me for content creation if TikTok disappears as a platform. Falling into oblivion isn't really an option for me personally, though it does sound a little bit romantic. Content creation came to me basically by accident. I never sought it out. What actually happened was that I joined a Discord server with a bunch of fellow Hunger Games fans who have since become my close friends, and a few of the people in there were already creators. With fandom conversations that were happening behind closed doors, it lended itself really easily to start having those conversations publicly for an audience because there was an audience that was interested in hearing them. I was pretty embarrassed when I first started posting, so the fact that it has stuck around at all is proof of its value in my life and my creative process. Being a creator has, surprise, surprise, made me a more prolific creator in all mediums that I practice.
Accept yourself. Love yourself. Accept yourself.
But like, seriously, where do we go if TikTok dies? There's nothing else out there that's quite like it. Again, does anybody actually like Reels? At least, does anybody who has been active on and enjoyed TikTok actually like Reels? Because I know that people who have never experienced the glory of the algorithm, sure, maybe it's fun. It's not fun for the rest of us. The comments are atrocious, the culture doesn't fit, and it's genuinely a numbers game over there. We aren't fed what we're actually interested in. We're fed what Instagram wants us to be interested in, what most people have already been interested in. It feels sort of like a race to the bottom of the most marketable, bland content you possibly can to be shown to the most people. And that's not what we're looking for. There is the option of YouTube Shorts, but to me, those seem like an extension of long-form content, like a companion piece in a way, as a way to tease and promote the rest of the channel, not necessarily for that content to stand on its own. Obviously, there is the option to just fly full force into long-form content, which obviously I plan on doing to an extent, but that's still different. To be clear, the content that I'm known for definitely leans in the long-form direction to begin with, which is why I did plan to move over here anyways. But that's not what I'm used to, and it's only half the story. Like, sure, I love diving in deep, but I also love screaming into the void about anything and everything that crosses my mind and having the void scream right back. I love the chorus of voices that I get to hear, even when I'm talking about something stupid, like why I think hot water bottles are superior to heating baths, or how bad Hulu's subtitles are, because they're atrocious. Hulu, get your shit together. There's not really another platform that lends itself to the sheer variety and flexibility of content. TikTok has a free-form quality to it that's hard to replicate on other social media apps. Unfortunately, this line of thought did in fact lead me to the most stereotypical mid-20s white person question to have ever been, which is, should I start a podcast? But seriously, without TikTok, what happens to TikTok creators? We've seen it before and we'll see it again. A lot of people, even like the huge powerhouse people, might just become normal people again, fall off the face of the planet, never to be seen. For some small and even micro creators, there might not even be another place for them that feels worth it. A lot of those people don't rely on it for income of any kind. They were just posting because they could, and once they can't, they won't. Some of the small and mid-sized creators will move on and either fail to find their audience, fall off due to disinterest in the new format, or both. And to be clear, I'm not counting myself out of that one. Who knows what's to come? It's not like I have a huge following of any kind. I would consider myself a micro-influencer. I am just over the threshold of being able to be monetized on TikTok. Some of the big creators will also move platforms, like the powerhouses who are basically guaranteed thousands of subscribers the moment that they say they're making a YouTube channel and before they even post anything on it. But some of them will disappear one day too, for the same reasons I mentioned before. But the biggest obstacle to face might just be the extinction of the For You page. A lot of people will have a hard time maintaining their audience without the algorithm, regardless of talent, how dedicated their viewers are, their content quality, or even the potential interest. The algorithm does so much for getting people to see what you're putting out. But of those who do persist onwards, where will they go? I think a lot of the big lifestyle creators will just go straight to Instagram. Many of them have already been cross-posting their content on there for a while, and it will just be life as usual, which, good for them, I guess. But the stereotypical Erewhon, Green Juice, Pilates Arms, Lululemon PR haul, day in my life as a wealthy person influencer isn't really who I'm worried about to begin with. For most of us small and mid-sized creators, things could really go any which way. There's not all that many options, and genuinely, I don't know where else there is to go, at least for video-based formats beyond what I've already said, Reels and Shorts. There are some non-video formats. People could move to podcasting or writing Substacks, which I'm sure many will do. But again, we're looking for a smooth transition. And unless you're one of the people behind the sad girl poetry slideshows, well, the only positive way I have found to be able to spin this is that at least we have a ramp-up period before the app disappears forever. I've appreciated hearing Sarah Shower's thoughts on it. Sarah was originally a Vine creator, so this is not her first rodeo. She fully rebuilt her platform from the ground up and is even more successful than she ever was before.
They say a Rolling Stone gathers no moss. Kate Moss has been on the cover of Rolling Stone. That's not what I... Yes, she fucking has, you idiot.
If you don't know her though, you should check her out. She's a really interesting person, so incredibly intelligent, and likes to have really thought-provoking conversations on her page. She's also a fellow autistic person, love the rep. But she's been posting some videos with tips on how to salvage what we can of the empires that we've built, or in my case, the small to mid-sized communities that we've built. I, again, currently have like a little over 13,000 people on TikTok, which is like, I don't know, a small town that's big enough to have at least a couple of 24-hour stoplights. A not quite sold out show at my local stadium. But beyond sharing suggestions for creators who are looking for next steps, she's also been pondering some really interesting philosophical questions about the soon-to-be TikTok diaspora spread far and wide across the internet.
But what I'm excited about is if the content creators who are like, you know what, let's migrate, right? You go live a lot, you go to Twitch, or like, you do short form content, you go to Instagram Reels, you go to YouTube Shorts, right? Maybe you go to Facebook. Honestly, or if you do long form informational content, you go to YouTube. What I'm excited about is how people migrating literal platforms will change the culture of other platforms, right? Because immigrants always make the place better that they move to. They add diversity of opinions, perspectives, culture, like their know-how, And so if you think of yourself as immigrating to a different platform, think of how that will vastly change the culture of each individual platform, right?
I think this question of how the quote-unquote digital immigrants will change the spaces that they enter is one that's not only worth examining, but also worth documenting in real time. I think it's a really interesting one for digital historians of the future, and I do want to share my predictions for how I think this will affect YouTube's culture specifically. So my first prediction for how I think YouTube will change as the TikTok diaspora begins to infiltrate it is that I think the culture, or at the very least the perceived culture of YouTube, will become a lot less formal. Of my friends and fellow creators that I've talked to, a lot of us feel a little bit wary of what a move to YouTube would actually entail due to feeling intimidated by this expectation of formality. The production value on YouTube is way higher. There is so much more thought and care and time that goes into each and every video that gets put on here. On TikTok, we're posting on a whim. There might be a running list of ideas that you keep handy, but I would say that generally videos have a turnaround time of less than 24 hours, and most of them have a turnaround time of less than 2. And that's 2 hours total between deciding to make a video, maybe planning it a little bit, filming it, editing it, captioning it, and posting it. All of that is happening in under 2 hours, and honestly 2 hours is a stretch. If it's taking that long, it's because it's probably longer than what used to be the 3-minute limit, and also like more complex in its topic. The average video that you're doing that's maybe 1 to 3 minutes that you're just throwing out there, that takes 20 minutes max. And some of those are like the most popular TikToks that you will have. Like those are the ones that get the biggest. Compare that to the YouTube video. So basically in preparation for this video, I wrote myself an outline, and then after I had an outline of the whole thing, I went through and started writing my script basically chronologically. And at this point in writing the script, I had already spent 6 hours on pre-production and I hadn't even set up the camera. Could I have gotten the same ideas across in a quick little TikTok video? Honestly, yeah, and it would have taken me a lot less time. Maybe a full day, okay? Maybe a few times to try to film the video, make sure I got what I was saying right, edit it, post it. The longer TikToks take a while to post. But I already tried filming a YouTube video the same way that I would a TikTok, and it really just didn't work very well. I learned my lesson very quickly that I need to write real scripts. I can't just rely on a vague outline when I need to be clear and precise in my meeting, and it's not so easy to go through the footage or like immediately stop the clip that I was saying, delete it from the stack of clips that I'm accumulating and say it again. Like, that just makes it a lot easier. YouTube inherently requires more thought, planning, editing, and labor from top to bottom. It is an entirely different set of skills, which on its own would be one thing. But beyond that, you also need extra equipment and software too. Like, you can go back and look at my first video. It is terrible. It is borderline unwatchable. The audio is so quiet. The quality is so bad. And it's because I didn't have a camera. I used the built-in photo booth on my MacBook because it's all I had, because I had to reference my phone in order to remember what I was trying to say. TikTok is definitely more democratic in that aspect because being able to use your phone for all aspects of creation eliminates a major barrier to entry. On TikTok, you record everything in app, you edit everything in app, you post it in app. There's no need for a computer or a tablet to run editing software, no need for a camera or a nice mic setup to make it watchable on the most practical sense. You set your phone in front of you and you start talking. Also, the presence of the camera and like the little mic setup that I have here presents an entirely new set of challenges, and ones that I wouldn't have necessarily expected before experiencing them. Like, at this point, I thought I had gotten pretty comfortable at camera. Like, I've been doing this for almost 2 years. And what I learned when I started making YouTube videos is that that is absolutely not the case. What I had actually gotten comfortable with was speaking into my phone. And it makes sense when you like zoom out and think about it. It's always awkward to see and hear yourself on camera at first, but really consider the vehicle that you're seeing it on. With your phone, it's your phone. It's a safe object that likely never leaves your side. It's in your face the moment you wake up or right before you go to bed. You use it to FaceTime friends and family. You take photos and videos of your most beloved people and pets. It's heard you cry, heard you laugh, seen you smile. The camera is a bit more of a foreign thing. I used to be very into photography, so it's not like I haven't always had a camera at my side, but I was also, for the most part, behind the lens, not in front of it. While the camera is a good friend who earns your trust, the phone is already a piece of you, and it has no need to build any trust. It's just part of you. Truly, I think the time investment necessary to produce a YouTube video is what will prevent the most people from taking that jump. But I also think that in the long run, if this channel follows a similar trajectory in viewership that I've had in the past on TikTok, it will eventually be a more efficient investment. I'll have to check again in the future and crunch the numbers, but I do believe that the time saved from the absence of the endless scroll will more than make up for the time spent in producing something like this. So having said all that, I just don't think that it's realistic that the people, the creators who are native to TikTok are going to jump over and just assimilate to the high production culture that's already here on YouTube. I think it's more realistic to expect a compromise between the two. Those who are already established may continue on as usual, who are like already dual creators, right? They're already on TikTok and they're on YouTube. But I think the new generation of YouTubers who have never done this before will be a lot more casual, a lot more authentic, and a little less polished. And I don't think it's going to impact their reception either, because alongside them also comes an entirely new generation of YouTube viewers who don't carry those expectations. So my second prediction, how will the culture of YouTube change when the TikTokers come on over? I do firmly believe that the death of TikTok will bring about the renaissance of the mid-length video. While yes, TikTok started as a short form app, really like a really short form app, a lot has changed since then. When it first started, and this was before I was on there, but when it first started, the max video length was literally 15 seconds. By the time I was on there, it was 60. And then it moved from 60 seconds to 3 minutes for some of us in December of 2020, when the app was still in its major growth phase from the wave of COVID users. I was one of the people who started watching during COVID, by the way. And then the 3 minutes was like a site-wide feature by mid-2021. And then the rollout for 10-minute videos came in fall of 2023, so a little over a year ago. And looking back, I honestly have no idea how I used to manage to get any type of complex analysis across in 3 minutes. Like, I remember doing take after take as quickly as possible. Like, I would basically it was almost like I was scripting myself, but I was scripting myself on the fly. So I would do a take until I got the wording down, and then I would do the exact same wording multiple times until I said it as quickly as possible. And then after that, I would edit out literally every single pause and every single breath that I took just so I could jam another 10 to 20 seconds of information in. Because 3 minutes is really hard when you like to talk about the things that I like to talk about. It's really, looking back, I'm like, I was a lot better at figuring it out back then. Maybe I've gotten too comfortable with the 10-minute format, and then here on YouTube, I have no limit. I have no limit. That's real nice. I think the sweet spot these days for maximum audience engagement ranges from like 1 to 5 minutes, although a lot of mine hover around to like 3 to 7. And I do think like app-wide, this average increased by some rule changes within the Creator Fund, where now only videos that are longer than a minute are like qualify for monetization. So you don't get paid if you're posting a 30-second video. And this change was made before I was in the Creator Fund, so I don't know exactly what the rules used to be. But because of that, it's now rare to see videos under a minute for most creators, unless it's like a sound or a trend. But even if it's a sound or a trend, sometimes it's like a work with artists promotion, so they might be getting paid anyway if their video does really well, or it like reaches a minimum number of views. They might get like $100 bonus or something like that. The point is, this is a group of people that are coming to YouTube who are primed and prepped to both create and digest little nuggets of medium length content. I will admit this is not what I am personally looking for when I come to YouTube. I've already said I love a long video. Love a long video. Mostly because it means I don't have to choose what I'm watching next. And I'm good to just do my thing, whatever I'm doing while I'm watching for a good while. But it doesn't really matter that I'm not the audience for this mid-length video, because I think that a lot of people who will soon have nowhere else to turn are. Like, I already have a few other videos cooking up right now. Some of them are like not even outlines yet, they're just ideas. One of them is an outline, one of them is an outline and like half of a script. But before that, I actually asked my followers on TikTok whether they wanted shorter or longer videos, because one of them is going to be really long if I don't break it up. But it sounded like most of them didn't want me to break it up, but I did have comments from a few of them being like, it's rare I watch a video over 20 minutes. So and that person is actually like a younger person compared to a decent amount of my followers. So I do think that especially for the younger audience, those short attention spans, not to like stereotype it, but I do think this new generation that are coming into their own, that are starting to get high school jobs and can spend money on merch and stuff, they are looking for 10 to 20 minute videos. So my third and final prediction for the cultural shift that will come from TikTok's digital immigrants is also, in my opinion, the most fascinating one. But I do believe that there is about to be an entirely new type of YouTuber archetype. Currently, I find that most YouTubers fit pretty neatly within a particular genre of content, and while they may dip their toes into others, they're pretty majorly defined by one of the following categories. So you've got your video essayists, who may or may not stick to one particular topic or a collection of topics. You've got your lifestyle and vloggers, who bring you along to share their experiences. There are the topic-focused generalists. So these are the people who create like a lot of different types of videos. Like there's always a different prompt or like a different gimmick for what the video is, but they stick with like a larger category. I feel like a lot of like fashion people and a lot of booktubers fall into this category. Love you, Jack in the Books. You were one of the people I was thinking of when I thought of that one. You've got your reactors and reviewers. You've got your podcasters and interviewers, and then finally you have your informational and educational channels. Those are like your how-to videos or like channels that are dedicated to learning a specific skill.
Hi, I'm Renata Bliss, and I'm your freestyle dance teacher.
Like your how to sing people, or like all of the piano tutorials, which I used y'all. I learned piano from YouTube when I was a kid. Love you guys for that. And if a single YouTuber does embody more than one of those categories with their content, it's typically split up between two different channels. and they're treated as separate entities for all intents and purposes. So what will the new YouTuber archetype look like? I think it's going to be the variety show. TikTok doesn't really have an expectation when it comes to specialization. Sure, some people do it, but I'm willing to bet that it was encouraged in the content strategies for a while at first. So I don't know if you guys know this, but TikTok, once you're in the creator fund, they are constantly like, there's a whole special part of the notification center that's just for like system stuff. And they are constantly like, hey you, hey creator, hey, did you know that you can do this thing now? And we have this thing, and we'll give you extra views if you do this. Hey, check out this new tool that we gave you where you can see the content gaps and what your followers are searching while they're interacting with your stuff. They're looking for this thing and there isn't a lot of it. Like, they're constantly telling you what to do to like help yourself show up on the For You page. So maybe a while ago they were suggesting that you niche down, but that is definitely not the case now. At this point, people who do that are the exception and not the rule. A person may gain popularity for one thing, but they keep people's attention by doing new things. Most of us can make a list of like all of the defining identities that we've had over the years. I've been the angry left-handed girl, the media literacy fighting for my life over Colin and Penelope Bridgerton girl, the Olympic medal count girl, the HDR video suck girl, which that one I had to take down because I was getting way too much hate for it. And of course, always and forever, I'm the Hunger Games geography girl, just to name a few of them. The pipeline that goes from like topical interest to creator loyalty is just a much shorter one on TikTok, I feel, than it is on YouTube. As long as you're like moderately likable and occasionally entertaining, people will stick with you. The casual nature of the app as a whole nurtures and streamlines parasocial relationships. And I'm not saying this doesn't happen on YouTube as well, but just that it doesn't take nearly as long for it to happen. I already know that I will be one of these variety show creators, and I'm not just saying that because I know myself and the habits that I tend to slip into, although that's also part of it, but because I'm explicitly planning to. Like, you can already see this just in the, 6-7 videos that I've uploaded on my YouTube so far. I have a video essay for something I'm passionate about, like children's literature and holes. And then that bleeds directly into like reactions and reviews about the content I consume, which you can see in my videos about Bridgerton. There's my, I guess you could also say reactions and reviews about the one that I did about In Memoriam in the movie 1917. It was like a literary and movie analysis and a review and compare and contrast all in one. And then there is also the lifestyle aspect. I did an Organize My Books With Me video also while I was in Chicago this summer. It was my first time in Chicago. I've been through it. I haven't gotten a chance to like explore it before. I tried to be in my vlogger era. I took a bunch of videos while I was there and I planned to put them on here, and then life got in the way. And then finally, there's all of the random stuff that I would make standalone videos about. The brain dumps and shower thoughts, the questions I want answered, the opinions that I want to gather. That's a part of the app that I would miss too. If TikTok goes away for real, I figure I'll just save up all of those little nuggets until I have enough for like a longer video and then just cover them all and essentially become a solo podcast. Like, should I start a podcast? We'll see. I just don't think that telling people to niche down is going to be helpful advice for finding and sustaining an audience after this. People have come to want real people, and none of us are actually the singular, predictable, polished mirage of a person that capitalism and the attention economy demands us be. People are dynamic and ever-evolving, and why shouldn't our content, our art, and our contribution to culture be too? The future of the attention economy as a whole has a lot at stake wherever this thing takes us. If the ban does happen, I don't think they realize quite how much chaos is going to ensue, particularly when it comes to children. People are genuinely going to go through withdrawals, especially kids, many of whom lack the emotional regulation skills to handle that. And that's a problem that will be needed to take seriously. Have you ever seen a child have their screen taken away from them? It's pretty scary. When I say it's an addiction, I mean that with no hyperbole at all. And it's definitely not just children, it's also me and you. The need for the endless scroll is so ridiculous that I find myself being annoyed by videos that are too short, that loop in the background while I'm trying to do something like get dressed, because I just can't put my damn phone away. It's really bad. It's really bad for adults and children alike. But if it does disappear, I do wonder, will the addiction break if we can't get our fix? Or if it doesn't taste quite as sweet? Again, I ask, does anybody actually like reels? I just don't believe it. Will we settle for something that's inferior, or will this be the opportunity for us to reclaim our time? Will we get bored enough to do something, anything, that doesn't involve a screen? That's really anybody's guess. Perhaps naively, I do wonder if this will encourage a return towards thoughtful consumption of media. If the short form video is in fact phased out of our lives, we will fill that with something else. We'll find other things to watch. But longer formats inherently mean that there's more time spent with some level of focus on a singular topic, no matter what that topic may be. I literally could not tell you what TikTok I saw even just like a couple minutes ago after scrolling, but a video essay or a TV show will stick in my mind for days or weeks or months or years. So now let's talk about me and this channel and where I plan to take it, because I love making things about myself. So I did originally start this channel back in May with plans to post around a video or so per month as like a long form companion piece to whatever I was into on TikTok at the time. And that's why my first few videos were about Bridgerton. The timing on that was kind of perfect because the first half of the season dropped in mid-May. My account was blowing up like never before. And then 2 days before the second half of the season dropped, I finally hit that 10,000 follower threshold that allowed me to join the Creator Fund and monetize my account. But it was also kind of bad timing because the day after the season dropped, I was leaving for a 3-week vacation. So that's why I just kind of disappeared and never ended up like posting anymore. So I actually did take quite a bit of footage while I was away. The first week I spent volunteering at my childhood summer camp, which was super fun. And then I spent about a week with family. And then on my way home, I stopped in Chicago and was there for a couple days. I've already been through this, but this was like the first time that I had actually been there before instead of just sort of driving through. So I had a great time, took a bunch of videos. I actually did do like a rough cut as soon as I got back, but then life got in the way and I never posted it. But the craziest part about being in Chicago is that I officially hit niche internet micro celebrity status while I was there because one of my followers recognized me while I was at the Art Institute. Again, 10,000 followers. One of them saw me and recognized me at the Art Institute of Chicago. That's crazy. That's insane. But unfortunately, when I got back, I had some health stuff come up. I'm chronically ill. And then immediately following that, I had like work stuff come up, which I'm only just now recovering from. So from like August to October, TikTok was what I was putting more focus in because it was actually making me some much needed money. I was able to pay off some medical debt. Thanks, TikTok. But everything is falling apart over there right now, so here I am. So yeah, my goals for this channel are pretty simple. I want to make sure that no matter what happens, I still have a verbally based creative outlet. I've become way too reliant on the public forum to vocalize my thoughts and feelings and opinions to let that just disappear. And I love being able to engage with others who are equally interested in the topics that I'm interested about. It definitely saves my friends from having to hear a lot of ranting that is completely meaningless to them. And not having this option to like let loose would drive me a little bit insane now, I think. I have no idea how I functioned before. There's just too much going on in my brain and I need to externalize it. Otherwise, I will just fully lose my mind. It's happened before. So yeah, I just want to like maintain / rebuild my little community and be better about putting content on here because having my little slice of the internet in my corner has seriously enriched my life. So ideally, I would like to be able to reach monetization status ASAP. I won't lie, it is really nice to have my TikTok monetized. Before I was in the creator program, I was honestly more excited about hitting 10,000 because I was going to be able to organize my videos into playlists. No idea why that's a function that TikTok gatekeeps, but it is. And I wasn't as excited about the making money part because everybody told me that, oh, it's like peanuts. Like, it doesn't actually. I think y'all were lying a little bit. It can definitely be more than peanuts. I don't make a ton, but it's definitely more than I expected the way that people talk about it. I work at a nonprofit, so I don't like make much money, and the extra income, no matter how variable, and it is variable, makes a huge difference. I have anywhere from like $75 a month to 1 month I made $1,100, which was crazy. And again, it helped me pay off some debt. So I'm really appreciative of that. But being transparent with this goal isn't because like I'm trying to be greedy. I just want to be open and honest about it. This is something that I would do for free. And it's something that I had been doing for free for 2 years, right? But now that I understand how the attention economy works, I've seen the other side of it, and I realize how much of what you see on your internet feeds every single day is bought and paid for. I actually understand that creation is labor, and all labor deserves compensation. I'm admittedly a little bit salty when I think back about all of the videos that I had blow up. I mean, we're talking like hundreds of thousands of views. Like, the biggest video I've ever had is just shy of 1 million views, and I made $0 from that. That is thousands of dollars that I just missed out on because TikTok doesn't think your labor is worth it unless you have 10,000 followers. You owe me money, TikTok. And then, like, I don't know, sponsors would be cool, but I only want ones that I actually believe in. I think that TikTok Shop is the worst thing that has ever happened to TikTok besides it being banned, I guess. And I told them there, and I will tell you here, that you will not catch me being a salesperson unless it's something that I would say for free. My content has always been and will always be about ideas and stories, not sales. I'm absolutely open to sponsorships, but best believe I will only be accepting ones that I'm genuinely passionate about. And honestly, I don't even want like product-based ones. I want the idea-based ones. I want content-based ones. A couple of my friends have gotten some really, really cool opportunities. One of them got to promote an HBO show that was pretty successful. A couple of my friends got to go to the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes premiere in LA, expenses paid, and like walk the red carpet. That's so cool. I want to go. Scholastic, if you're out there, Scholastic, invite me to the Sunrise on the Reaping events. So anyways, I'm just about to wrap up here. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed your time hanging out with me, here are some ways that you can support me. So please, number one, you hear it all the time, like and subscribe. Tell your friends if you think that they'll enjoy what I'm doing over here too. I do have to meet some requirements before I can make money on here, and I have a pretty long way to go before I reach that goal, so it really would help me out. You can also follow me on other platforms as long as they're around. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Letterboxd, and my username is devmakes on all of them. Just devmakes, nothing else. You can also put $1 or $2 in my tip jar on Venmo if you would like. No judgment. It's there if you want it, though. And then I'm also an artist and a writer, so if you want like some zines that I've written or Hunger Games fan art or Percy Jackson fan art, there's a ton of stuff in my Etsy shop which you can check out. It's all in my link tree, so you can just go on there. Anyways, okay, bye. Love you guys. See you soon. I have stuff in the works. I'm just trying to figure out how best to balance my energy right now. But I will see you guys again very soon because I do have multiple videos at varying levels of production going on right now. Most of them are about the Hunger Games, so if that's your thing, definitely subscribe because that's what's coming up on the menu. But anyways, okay, I'm gonna go. Bye for real. Hope you enjoyed your time here. Happy holidays.
Be careful, watch your